It's been perfect. Here's the deal. I have a lot invested in the Jaguars, and I would like them to be good.
You
Very
don't have
popular
that much.
and I have a lot invested. I bought real estate. I have a lot.
The Blonde Wing,
the
Buglers.
I'm beloved in Duval County. Yeah, they want us to do more Hornets and Magic coverage instead.
How dare you?
And I really like Liam Cohen, and you guys know
that's true.
I love Trevor. James Gladstone brushing up against Smug. Last year you made Last year you took a huge swing in the draft, trading the 5th, a future first, and a 3rd, I believe it was, might have been a 4th, to move up for Travis Hunter. We'll see if that works out long term. Year 1 returns not great. One of the reasons Cleveland had the best draft is the extra capital from Jacksonville. This year, with your first pick, you took a blocking tight end who had 170 yards receiving last year, and I understand the league's moving more to 2 tight end, blocking tight end sets, fine. Still odd. And to just be like, no, we set our draft the day before, targeted 10 players, and drafted all, I don't know that I believe you. And if it is true, then that means if every guy you wanted was available when you were hoping to get him,
right,
it means maybe you were valuing players the rest of the league wasn't.
Yeah.
At no point,
someone
fell to you.
Right. At no point was it like, oh man, that guy that we loved, someone else loved.
Well,
and so
maybe it's a misspeak because what you're explaining doesn't make logical sense.
No, it does.
That he had 10 and he went 10 for 10.
That is what he said happened.
I'm trying to give him some grace.
I'm just saying, he's a very smart guy, obviously. I'm a little anxious about it. Trent Baalke wasn't good. Now James Gladstone seems to be, I don't know.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I'm not really worried about the team because I think they got the head coach right in Liam Cohen. I think this is more on Trevor. Okay, Trevor, we're not going to just throw all these resources at you because we've done that. They've provided Trevor with quite a bit. NTN when they drafted him, and obviously Brian Thomas Jr. and obviously Travis, all these other players. So I don't think they had a terrible draft. I think they drafted for depth, and knowing what that Liam Cohen was able to do I think they were 3-14 the year before, and to go 13-4, or 4 whatever the record was.
4-13.
4-13, and then
so
13-4.
Yeah.
You trust that, and so it's we got to keep players in here to where we can have depth. I thought they drafted for depth.
And their first pick was 55th,
yes,
right? So in the second round. Look, I'm willing to give him a shot. The team is pretty good right now, and we will see. But when you are smug, if it doesn't work out, you can be out of there and rub people the wrong way.
Okay. Jacksonville Jaguars. Nick saying that he has, a lot at stake or invested in the Jags and the execs, as Wild is saying, the execs say, don't talk about the Jags. So, we got a quick little 3-nut segment at the end of the show. Essentially, I want to talk about the Jags. I'm excited to talk about the Jags. But before I jump into it, please do not forget to subscribe and watch the full length of video. Unfortunately, this is what I still have to do for the Jags videos so I can go up against the whole idea of let's not talk about the Jags because it's bad for ratings. But when you guys watch the full length of the video and you subscribe while watching the video, views go through the roof. Subscribers go through the roof. And again, like I always try to emphasize, it's not about just chasing views. It's not about chase subscribers. It's about being able to put myself in a position so I can make Jacksonville Jaguars content that people genuinely want to watch, that they genuinely want to discuss. So I can make a video and not have it get, 300 views and 1 comment, right? I want to make videos that people genuinely wanted to interact with, right? So we can have real, honest, grounded, unbiased conversations about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, I'm not going to get too lost in the rankings. Okay, they ranked as the worst draft today by The Athletic. It's okay, whatever. That means so little to me. I agree with what Greg is talking about, that they drafted for depth, but I disagree with him here where he's like, we're not going to just throw everything at Trevor. We've already done that in the past, and it's just like, when the coaching was a mess, when everything was a mess. You have Liam Cohen now, and I am a massive believer in Liam Cohen, like, Greg said that, he believes that they got the coach right, and so now it's on the shoulders of Trevor. It's like, year 2 with Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence, I would love a big part of me would love to see them just throw the whole kitchen sink at them offensively, right? Just throw everything you possibly can. Just give both Liam Cohen and Trevor maximum firepower. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the ultimate way to success. I just think it goes a long way, not only for Liam Cohen as a head coach and really taking control of this team, but also just for Trevor Lawrence's development and confidence and just him building and maturing as a seasoned veteran quarterback, right? To be able to really build some momentum here. So, going into this season, I don't necessarily see it as just, this is now on Trevor's shoulders to kind of get the job done. They were obviously a great team last year. There was obviously some issues and some flaws. There was a little bit of growing pains between Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence, which is, to be expected. They obviously wrote the ship, down the stretch. And listen, that playoff game was obviously imperfect, but I thought it was an awesome game, and they came up short. Trevor Lawrence could have played a bit better. But at the end of the day, you got Josh Allen, so there's just you can't lose too much sleep over that. And when you have a season like that, when you feel really excited and optimistic about your quarterback, about your head coach, about the decisions that this team has made, and feeling like you're going in the right direction, there is that sense of just wanting to be able to take this big step forward, right? To really be able to build off of what you did last season. And so you want, you're hungry for that type of draft where you're just like, we got Jeremiah Love, we got so and so, right? And you just want to feel like that you took big swings in free agency and you're like, oh my gosh, we got so and so, or we made a trade for, A.J. Brown or, whatever it may be. And then I get that. I really, really do. And those moves are exciting. Those moves really make you feel like, oh my gosh, the wind is at your back. You have all the momentum. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And that has not necessarily been the off-season for the Jags. But it doesn't mean that it's bad. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. The problem is that I'm looking at the Jags of, like, what can they do to win a Super Bowl, not what can they do to just be competitive, or what can they do to, for us to kind of feel like, all right, the Jags are actually legitimately like a consistent high-quality team. It's like, no, what can they do to become Super Bowl winners, and to me, I feel that pressure to have that mentality because of how much I believe in Liam Cohen as a coach and the abilities that Trevor Lawrence has, that when that marriage unites and they're really connected and really seeing each other, they're operating at the same wavelength. It's like I do believe magic can happen, which is why I was saying like I am all for just throwing everything at them offensively, and just giving every single resource you can. I don't care what resources you had when you had Doug Peterson, or I can never think of the other guy's name that was there with his when he was rookie, whatever his name was, from Ohio State, I think. Right. And so like that doesn't mean anything to me. To me, the whole Trevor Lawrence era started last season with Liam Cohen. Like that's when everything started in Jacksonville, right? That's when everything started in Jacksonville. And it's just you can already see at the win total 9.5. People didn't really believe in the Jags last year, even when they were winning, and people don't necessarily. Why believe in them this year, and now they don't believe in their draft, and they still seem to be hesitant around Trevor. It seems like for the most part, a lot of people believe in Liam Cohen. But I it would have been nice. It would have been nice to see them take a big step forward with some big swings. That was not the position that they were in. And again, that's why I agree with Greg. They're definitely looking more from a depth standpoint. They're trying to look to be more resilient and pretty much not even elevate their floor or elevate their ceiling, but to ensure their floor. And sometimes you do those types of things because you do believe in your quarterback and you do believe in your coach. And so as long as you ensure your floor, you're saying, well, we're in a position to win any game then, right? As long as the bottom doesn't fall underneath us, we're in a position to compete. We're in a position to win games. But, again, does that end up being enough? What are the expectations of a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars? Like this is where it's tough because you look at some of these other teams that you could say like wow they were really close to winning it all and they took big swings or they made big moves specifically like a team like the Los Angeles Rams. Or the year before that the Philadelphia Eagles like you can point to really concrete moves that you're like yeah you won the Super Bowl back. Oz you did this and it makes sense. And when the Rams won in 21, it's the same thing, right? Like really concrete moves that you can really point to. The Jags haven't necessarily done that. So again, it's not the worst thing. It's not the end of the world. It's not like, oh my gosh, we should now all be worried. But, you would like a sense that they're in a position to just take a stronger step forward beyond just the continuity of Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen. So, how it all shapes up, how it all unfolds, just a straight gas man at this point. I think really the floor setup for the Jags makes 100% sense to me and then the rest will really be when you do play the Denver Broncos, which we obviously know they played very well against. When you do play the Bills, when you do play the Chiefs, the Texans, etc. It's just like, as long as that floor is taken care of, do you make the plays? Do you make the plays? Do you have the right play calls? Are you executing right? I mean, we saw what the Jags did against the Broncos. We saw what the Broncos did against the Bills. We saw what the Bills did against the Jags. Like, all of this stuff ends up all this stuff ends up being such a genuine coin toss. The Jags absolutely positively could have beaten the Bills. Absolutely. And we saw what they did to the Broncos. Doesn't mean that was going to be a repeat of that. We've known Hat. We see that. You see that in just divisional games, let alone games when you hit during the regular season and the playoffs. So just because you did that to the Broncos in the regular season doesn't mean you were going to do it especially in that blizzard right or whatever. I don't even know if it was considered a blizzard whatever the heck it was called and considered, but it's just like you're right there, and so it does feel like I usually push back on teams when they come up short like the Rams. People said in 2024 when they lost to the Eagles it was like oh they were a play away from winning the Super Bowl, and I was like, I don't know if you were beating the Commanders, I don't know if you were beating the Chiefs. You just because we're in a position to maybe beat the Eagles that means you would have now won it all. I reject that wholeheartedly and I don't always think that way. And sometimes I do. Sometimes it's yeah man if only you made that one play I actually really do like you against this team, and then that it's I can kind of get there and I do put the Jags in that conversation. I'm not saying that the Jags would have beaten the Broncos, but again you're going up against the backup quarterback. The weather is a mess, right? I don't know you're in a weird situation whether it's the Broncos or the Patriots or whatever, right? I like your chances I like your chances there. And so, yeah, when you feel that close, it's what do we need to do to just not kind of get better, but to take a firm, strong step forward? And I think that's what people feel like the Jags just have not done. And so that's when you're I'm kind of worried, or they had the worst draft, or their off-season season hasn't been good. But I think that's, coming in too strong from the other direction personally. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Are you worried about the Jags? Are you worried about the Prince? I don't call them the Prince. But let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get to some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.